Bienvenue chez Team. It's starting to turn summertime here, and if I lived near the ocean, I would go take a dip in the cool waves. If you don't happen to live by the sea, you can always make this lovely tuna dish, which I think is wonderful served just at room temperature. So we're beginning by making a sauce, which I've already done. You can see that spun there. I reduced white wine vinegar, green onions, a little bit of our celery oil, which is here. It's this lovely green color. And I also put the zest of a lime and lime juice in that. I put it in a blender, added a lot more olive oil, and then we get this lovely, I don't know if you can see the texture, but that's just what we're looking for. That needs to go chill for a little bit, and we'll go on with another step. Now I am making an avocado mousse, which will go with this. The first thing we need is to just take a ripe avocado. This one could have used to have been a little bit riper, but it doesn't really matter. And with it, some lemon juice and a pinch of salt, and then some pistachio oil. Not a lot, just a little of that. And the last thing, I could use dairy products with this, but I'm not. I think it would be better with some coconut cream, so we're just going to use that instead of the normal heavy cream in it, and it needs some of that part. So let me put this through a blender and I'll show you what it looks like. Our mousse is done. If you can see that, it's a very pretty color. That we're going to keep chilled also until we're ready to put this together. And we're going to work on some cucumbers just by slicing them very thinly with a good vegetable cutter. That's plenty of them. What we'll do with these strips is just put them here, taking the nicest ones. That one's all right. Yeah, that one's probably all right. Put a little bit of fleur de sel on it. They need to just cure with that for a little bit, and we'll be back and put all of this together. Oh no, we got to cook our tuna first, and then we'll put it all together. I'm going to cook my tuna sous vide so that I'm sure it's a perfect pink when it comes out. To do this, we need to cook it for 45 minutes at 43.3 degrees centigrade. The tuna I'm using was previously frozen, and it's already vacuum packed, and so in it goes into the frothing water. And 45 minutes from now it will be done, and we'll put this all together. While we're waiting for the tuna to cook, I'll tell another fashion story from my days as a Paris fashion editor. One summer, the men's collections were shifted a little bit later in July than normal, and so they occurred at the exact time of Hedi Sliman's birthday. He was at that point the artistic director for Dior Homme and had transfigured the label and was really at the top of his game with it. And so he staged a birthday party after the show, and it was over in a rundown part of Paris in an underground kind of cafe bar that they had rented. I guess it was a discotheque they had rented for this occasion. So we all went and gathered and waited for Hedi Sliman to arrive. And in streamed all the young models that he uses, and a lot of other models that were in town. These are male models, accompanied by their girlfriends and by their friends and whoever else could sneak into this thing. Notably, there was no alcohol served because some of Hedi's models were not 12, 13 years old, so that was not in question. So people were in and they began dancing, and the music was loud, and frankly, at midnight, my head was throbbing, and so I thought, I've just got to get out of this room for a while, and there was still no sign of Hedi Sliman arriving. So I went outside, and it had begun to rain, rather a light rain was falling, and as I looked around, there was Karl Lagerfeld standing with Betty Catou, who was Yves Saint Laurent's longtime muse, and they were engaged in some animated conversation about something, and then Karl looked over at me and he said, "Well, the rain is falling and I needed to take a shower anyway, so let's just make the best of it." Well, Eddie finally did show up about 1 in the morning in a long limousine, and out he came to thunderous applause, and so everyone celebrated his birthday. Our tuna is cooked and we have plated it. You can see the beautifully cooked pink tuna. It's cooked, it's done, but it's mi-cuit, meaning it's basically pasteurized but keeping that pretty pink color. This is a gelée de pomme verte, which I made earlier. We've talked about how to make a jelly before, but it's a jelly made out of obviously green apples. And here is our avocado mousse. And there is the sauce that I made, which I neglected to mention also had a little bit of honey in it. It needed just a little bit of sweetening. So that is prepared. I don't like the way that looks, so we'll just pull that right over here. There. There's just always something. Let's also put just drops of celery oil about. That's more for presentation than anything else. Little things really do improve the overall picture. Of course, the thing is you want to quit while you're ahead here too, because like everything, overdoing it is not a good idea. And there is our mi-cuit de thon à la gelée pomme verte.